Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. Rebecca's doing the crew. Today we have a Dollar Tree spring DIY for you guys. So let's go over the supplies first. We need a Dollar Tree pair of these ankle socks, some polyester fill, also found at the Dollar Tree. Then we are going to use a Dollar Tree microfiber washcloth and some of their wooden beads. We're also going to use these two gnome picks, and also we will use these little booties that you could find over in the baby shower section. We're going to use a pack of these little eggs, some styrofoam eggs for embellishment, and some ribbon or fabric that you could use for these sleeves. We'll need these little bunnies for the gnomes to hold, and something to put it all on, like a little stand, a wood block, some flowers, and some greenery to fill in, and these little paper flowers to help decorate, and some bottle brush trees as well. We'll need a little bit of string, some scissors, and some hot glue, and you can use a pom-pom as well for a tail if you need one. It's optional. So let's get crafty. The first thing we're going to do is take that polyfill and we're going to really fluff it up. You want it nice and fluffy before you stuff it into your socks. And you're going to stuff it almost all the way to the heel. You don't want to go too high up. You don't want these too big or they won't stand up on their own. So just fill it pretty full. It doesn't have to be stuffed really tight, just enough that it's light enough to stand up and looks nice and fluffy. Then we'll take a piece of yarn or string. We're just going to tie this around the top portion right at the heel. We'll tie it nice and tight, but you don't want it so tight that you can't fit a dowel rod down through the center, because that's how we're going to put that gnome bunny pick in there. So once you got that done, we're just going to cut off the excess ribbon. Here's what it looks like. And now we're going to pull those sticks out of the gnomes. You don't have to do that part. I just find it better to glue them back in. I just find them more sturdy. So that's why I pulled them out. So now we'll take that washcloth and we're going to cut two strips that are about 2.5 inches wide. And these are going to become the arms for our gnomes. You could just take the first one, lay it right on top of the washcloth, and cut along the side of it. That way you get them both pretty close to the same size. So now we're going to take some hot glue, put that right down the center, and then you're just going to fold this over so you have a nice smooth edge and we don't have that rough part showing as much. And we'll just keep rolling this up to create this tube. And you can add more hot glue if you need to make it nice and closed up on the ends, but you don't want to close them up too much. You want to be able to open up that little tiny portion on the end so that you can pop that little bit of glue in there and put the bead in for the hand and have it hold. And then you can just add some more glue and kind of glue it all the way around the bead so it's nice and closed off. And we'll do that for both sides. We'll add another bead to the other side here. And then to help it look a little bit more finished, you could either take ribbon, or I had some material, just little scraps that I used, and I just glued those in half so the decorative part is showing. And we're going to create like a cuff to the sleeve just to make it a little bit more decorative and to help the hands separate a little bit more from the arm. That way it stands out a little bit better. So we're just going to add hot glue and just keep wrapping this around, creating a cuff on the end of our sleeve here. And then we'll add a little bit more glue and glue that end down. And we'll do the same thing to the other side, obviously. And this will really help them to stand out against the white sock that we used for the body. Okay, so now that our sleeves are done, we are going to add a little bit of glue and then put that dowel rod back inside of the bunny. And again, that's optional. You can just leave it in if you like. I wanted these to last over time, and my kids always pick things up from the top, so I didn't want the head to come popping off there. So then we'll measure it against the sock and cut this dowel rod down a little bit. We don't need it as long as it is, so we'll just cut off the excess. Then we'll cut off the excess to that sock as well. But first, we're going to figure out where we're going to put these arms. They tended to look a little bit long to me. So what I did is I just fold like a fan fold in the back, and I add a little bit of hot glue here to shorten up the sleeves a little bit. You're not going to see this part, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be super neat. So I just Continue the fan fold there and just glue it all down. Make it nice and smooth. And that will be the center that we glued to the back of our sock. And so you really want to find the center and then add a big bead of hot glue around that top, kind of like the shoulder area. And then put the arms on and wrap them around towards the front. It's okay if they're not staying exactly where you want them, because you can actually glue them in place to stay where you want them to be. So here we just cut the excess off the top of the sock. You don't need all that extra fabric. And then I'm just checking to make sure I have an opening right here that the dowel rod will fit down into before I add my gnome head. So we'll add a little bit of hot glue, and that'll help the dowel rod to grab that glue and stick down inside. All I did was I kind of pull up the beard a little bit to make sure it doesn't get all stuck to the glue. And you push it down as far as you can get it so that the head will cover the top of the sock and where you glued those arms on. Then just kind of pull that beard and adjust it. You want to adjust the hair in the back as well to make sure it's pulled down nice and smooth. I just keep pulling at it, and then I comb it with my hands to get all the hairs to lay down in place. It's a little bit messy sometimes when you're crafting with it, so you just want to adjust it to make sure it looks good. I fluff up the body a little bit, keep fixing the hair to make sure I have it covered really well and down as far as I can get it to go. And I just moved the beard over a little bit and I glued the arms down. I didn't glue them down before I had the head in place because I wanted to make sure I kind of had them centered more towards, where they would naturally fall. And without the head in place, sometimes that's hard to judge exactly where it's going to be. And they might be a little too far to the front or too far to the back. So this way you can really judge where to glue them down. Okay, so now for the next part, I did use a little pom-pom. So this part's optional. You don't really have to do this part, but I just added a little pom-pom to the back. So we have our bunny tail. And then these little shoes, which are perfect for this, we're just going to glue two of them together using a bead of hot glue. Just kind of line them up and hold them together until they hold in place. And then we'll just glue the bunny right on top of this. We don't need to add anything extra here. The bunny's so light because we didn't use too much polyfill that it'll stand really well. I have these little paper flowers, which I just loved. I thought these would be cute to decorate the shoes with, just to help add a little bit more added detail and a little bit more spring with those flowers. A little less baby booty. I took another one of those flowers and I glued it to the corner of the hat to kind of tie it all together. And then I just kind of flatten out the bottom, add some hot glue, pretty decent amount of hot glue, and then I just put them right down, centered as best as I can on top of those shoes and hold it in place until they stick. Now I have these cute little bunny stuffed ornaments for the miniature trees. I cut off the tag and the string here, and we're going to create kind of like an elbow on the gnome's arms by just adding a little dot of hot glue and bending the arms forward to make it look a little bit more natural when he's holding his little stuffed bunny. So once I have the arms the way I like them, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the bead, and then we'll add the bunny, make sure that it's stuck down really well, and then we'll take the other hand and we're going to actually add it behind the bunny to make it look like he's holding it a little bit more naturally. And so that's basically it for the gnome. Then we can start creating this cute stand to put them on. So all I did for the stand is I took one of these blocks of wood from Dollar Tree and I add some glue to the gnome's feet. I glue him to the corner. I push down to make sure he's really stuck down there to the base. And then I have these light up bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree, which I just love. They match perfectly with the pink and blue gnomes. And I had some of those foam Easter eggs. I'm going to glue a few of those in place. Now the tree, of course, I'm not going to glue down because I have to be able to pick it up to turn it on and off so the batteries don't run out super quick. And we're just going to keep gluing all these eggs in place, creating a little decorative stand for the gnome. So I love these new eggs that they have out with the string wrapped around them. We'll add a few more of these little paper flowers to tie it in with the gnome. And then I thought it looked a little bit empty, so that's when I decided to add some greenery. So I just took a bunch of different like spare pieces and greenery, some leaves, and start tucking that in around all of the eggs so they almost look like they're sitting out in the yard. Just add a little bit at a time. You can even kind of tuck them in place first and figure out if you like the way it looks before you glue them down. That's always best, because then, you know, you can move them around if you don't quite like where they end up. I add a few more of the little paper flowers around the perimeter into the greenery. And these are our gnome stands. I love these so much. I hope you guys do too. I apologize, this is the only craft I did today. I've had the flu all week, so I hope you guys enjoyed at least this craft today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And here are some other videos from our channel you might also enjoy.